This is Terry Noel with Twist Mesquite Performance Horses. Today we are doing a review with Jesse. This horse is sired by SJR Diamond Mist. He's a coming 3-year-old. They started him a little later. He was a little on the small side, but man, we've got him going, and we're probably a month and a half in now, and he's riding around pretty nice. We're just gonna go over some things we're working on with him for this week and kind of show you where he's at. Up to this point, we've been focusing on largely our stop and our forward motion, our one rein stop, our forward motion, flexing, and starting to get some steering on him. And I guess the latter part of last week we started working more on body control, moving more of his hip, doing some bunch of that, disengaging that hip, and then this week we've started working on some bending exercises where he's kind of bending around our leg, along with some bending transitions, which is the same thing. It's just we bring him back down and just transition him down back to a walk into that bending exercise. So this stuff is working on our forward motion, as well as, you know, getting him more broke through his body, starting to let him understand that he can move around, be moving forward with some bend in his body. And that's going to be the start of our spins, our, you know, so your forward turnarounds, your spins, and then also, like, from there as well, we could add the backup and, you know, backing circles and more of a cow turn from that position as well. And so right now we'll just kind of warm him up. We'll kind of work on those here after we kind of trot out with him. So I just have my legs on him, moving him forward, and I'm squeezing him forward, and with him, if he starts to slow down or he's not moving forward fast enough, I'm gonna kind of squeeze and kind of roll my spurs up his belly a little bit just to keep him moving forward. And we're just letting him travel the outside of this arena, just to give him time to see every bit of this arena, and also just kind of letting him be on a loose rein, just moving forward. Gets his legs freed up, gets his body freed up, where then we can go work on some things, some specific body maneuvers, some specific body control when he's good and warmed up. So right here, these other horses are tied up over here, so he kind of slows down a little bit, kind of wanders off a little bit. So I just point him back in the direction and encourage him to move forward, get him back going again. I've really enjoyed this horse. He's very, very athletic, very soft. Once we got to putting some miles under his feet, just got to riding him, he really started getting along real well, and he's real willing. Wants to be super soft through his body. I like how he carries his head and neck, how he travels. Very smooth traveling horse. So at this point, we're working on a lot of traveling, continuing to let him travel out, get some exercise, working on that forward movement, and then we're working on these bending exercises, which is just basically when I put my inner leg on him. I'll show you here. So I put my, kind of pick up on that rein, and I put my inner leg on him. I want him to, seeing right now, he's thinking we're yielding the hindquarters right there. But I want him to step around forward, and when I put my leg on him, I'm gonna pull my rein to my hip and just wait for him to tip that nose in a little bit. And I want him to be able to do that eventually, where he keeps moving forward, and every time I put my leg on him, he'll bend around to my leg or bend around to his shoulder. I want to be able to have that control. I want to be able to have that control on him for any of this, any of our maneuvers really, where I have control of that head and neck, and he bends around my body. That's going to be your turnaround. That's going to be, as I said, that's going to be both your forward turnaround and then our cow turnaround. Kind of comes from this position. They're kind of bent around my leg a little bit. So I pick up on that rein, and I put my inside foot on his rib cage, and I want him to get soft right there. And as soon as he does, then I take my hand back down to my knee, and I just want him to keep walking around. As they understand that more, that's going to be a lot of the warm-up we do. We'll warm them up with that exercise there, getting them just soft through their body. See how I'm kind of waiting for him to take a step forward and give to me there. Again, put my inside leg on him and bring his nose. And I want him to just take a step forward and soften to me there. This is just, our neutral position is kind of just with my hand down at my knee. My legs are on him just enough to encourage him to walk forward, move forward, and both of my legs are kind of working at the same time. I like how soft he's wanting to be, how willing. So again, I just want him to move forward, kind of walk around this circle. There. I'm going to start putting my legs, you know, this is kind of where I start to use my legs a lot more. I've always been using my legs to kind of steer him, but now we'll start using them a lot more. You know, so if I'm, you know, say I'm in this circle right here, well, my inside leg encourages him to bend around, and my outside leg is going to encourage him to stay in that circle. So if he starts leaning out of that circle, I'm going to kind of encourage him with my outside leg, push him back over and get him coming back that other way. So now what we've been working on, you know, we work on that bending exercise there at that walk. And what we're gonna do is just encourage him. So we're gonna trot out, and we wanna be able to do this at a lope as well. Right now we're just working at this trot, get it good at the trot, but transition down from this trot into that bending exercise at a walk. And so I'm just gonna pick up, put my inside leg on him, and I might let him walk 1 circle, 2 circles, and then we're gonna trot off again. So we're working on our forward motion. Want him to move off a little quicker right there. We're working on our forward motion, a little bit of steering, and then transitioning down. And so I really like what, you know, the fundamentals of this is, you know, we move them forward, we get them moving forward, add some speed, and then we ask them to come back down and soften and get soft. And so, you know, it's even, you know, you'll see the opposite of that is you'll see people that, you know, get a horse wound up, they're running around there, and then they go to stop that horse and he's braced up and head up in the air and all this stuff, where that horse never gets soft. He never is required to get soft. And you know, so all these type of exercises encourages a horse to be able to rev his engine up, go somewhere, but then come back down, relax and soften. You know, the same's gonna do when we're stopping them two-handed is, you know, I'm gonna ask him to stop and then wait for him to get soft. And that's gonna be his reward. He doesn't get a reward when he stops, he gets a reward when he stops and gets soft. So that's kind of the premise of the whole deal, is that we'll ask him to do something, but we want softness throughout the experience. Right here. We'll just spend some time getting this a little better, you know, kind of teaching him the fundamentals of it, and then spend some time just improving it, get him thinking about getting off my leg a little bit more. It's gonna help these colts a lot, where, you know, we have horses tied up over here in this side of the arena, so they're kind of, you know, they want to move towards them a little bit. That's okay. This side's he's doing pretty good on, and so if we have a side that maybe they don't do as well on, we might work on that side 2/3 more, where I'm gonna put my leg into him till he softens there and then follows his nose. So he's kind of wanting to not really wanting to follow his nose around here as much. So we'll just encourage that a little bit more. Want him to tip his nose, get soft right here. There. I'm going to kind of travel out a little bit. You know, it's important to kind of balance these horses out a little bit. If they, you know, you kind of work on something that's bringing them back down to you too much, and they stop moving forward as much. You know, so we just kind of balance it out. We'll kind of let them move forward, let them free up a little bit, and then come back down to, you know, that exercise that we're bringing them back to us. We're slowing them back down and just kind of balance and building that awareness in them to where that they can ride around and we can turn them up, or we can slow them back down at any time. So this horse has advanced very quickly. Overall, we're pleased with this horse, and he's coming along very well. So that'll be our video for today. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.